Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to continue on this week's exploration of spectacular endings, songs that just have wonderful ways to wrap a track up. Spectacular can mean a lot of things to different people. I'm just expecting an ending worth talking about. Today we're going to be looking at something that I don't know what it is. I've been trying to figure this out for a while. So it's Cattle Decapitation. We've had them on the channel before. I'm well aware of what kind of music I'm in store for. The video we're looking at is called The Unerasable Past, a short film by Wes Benscoter. It is an official video released by Metal Blade Records. The description says that Wes worked in conjunction with Cattle Decapitation for this. But The Unerasable Past is only 2 minutes long, and this is almost 11. Now, the first comment, pinned by Metal Blade Records, is the lyrics for Death Atlas, which is the track that comes after The Unerasable Past, but is also not 10 minutes and 43 seconds. It's 9 something. So it's not The Unerasable Past, and it's not Death Atlas, but Death Atlas seems to be a part of this. My guess is we're going to get some of The Unerasable Past that leads into it, and I say some because the two songs together are longer than what this video is. I don't know. Maybe when it's all said and done, before I wrap the video up, I'll go listen to The Unerasable Past and Death Atlas on Spotify and see how much of this is those and in what portions and percentages. But yeah, I suppose let's just get into it. This short film video was requested for me, so that's what we're going to be checking out. Let's dive into it. Cattle Decapitation, probably the song Death Atlas.
It was incredible him. Mold on a rock that got to think. It's amazing.
See, if I had to wager, this would be The Unerasable Past, an ambient intro into Death Atlas.
As well as the data showing abnormal rises in upper atmospheric methane levels converge to give the impression that the near future of the entire human race is at stake. In 2018, the World Bank Group reported that many countries will need to prepare for over 100 million displaced people, as well as the displacement of millions of international refugees due to the ill effects of climate change. It has become clear that an enormous operation and policy program to revolutionize agriculture and repair the Earth's ecosystems is immediately needed.
this is Death Atlas. Okay. So we're getting a shorter version of Death Atlas then. It's really interesting to go from the primarily textural side. I don't think we had any pitch changes in that really fast stuff. To this. Unexpected vocal timbres for a harmony, but I'm digging it. This song's all over the place. You got some groove, you got some tech death, atmospheric harmony, emo style vocals. Yeah, that instant tempo shift, no accelerando into it, just kick into it. This section's so good, but it's gonna catch me off guard every time. Yeah. I don't know if I would call that spectacular, primarily because I might be looking at a very narrow word of that, which would be a modification of spectacle. I don't really think there's anything that ending that was overdone in a way to draw attention to. In fact, I feel like it's quite understated compared to everything else in the track, but I suppose in a way that is a spectacle, relatively. You know, for cattle decapitation to be as restrained as that, it's not something you see every day. It's kind of a spectacle. But it is something that it is a great ending. I don't know. I'm curious how other people are going to think about this, what their opinions are, and whether this fits a spectacular ending or not for the week's theme. But I'm glad we got to it this week. It might lack the theatrics to be spectacular, but I don't think that it is an ending not worth talking about. Primarily because of the storytelling the music has. We have our intro, The Unerasable Past. This is very somber, melancholic, and quiet, honestly. We fade this out into Death Atlas, which comes in arms swinging. Beat one, it's just blast beats and 30-second note picking. I don't know, it sounded fast to me. I don't I rarely think I've talked about anything faster than 16th notes. And that's primarily because anything faster than that becomes ridiculously fast. But this was ridiculously fast to my mind, and I never got a chance to count out the tempo, so I don't know, just fast notes, blast beats, screaming. Right off the bat, this song comes in and just lays into it. We lean back a little bit for our chorus. The groove section, we get a little bit of chill in there, but it's an aggressive track. Right up until about a minute and a half to go. And then the song just sort of stops. And I was like, dang, that's weird. You know, they've done a pretty good job of transitioning their ideas. They're not they're not harsh transitions. We do move from one concept to the next, but they usually find ways to make it feel a little natural. But not here. The song just abruptly ends. And then our intro begins. The song, I think, is about the end of the world. Cattle Decapitation, from what I understand, makes a lot of anti-humanity, I should say, songs, lyrics. They're very much about humans destroying the earth and eventually the earth fighting back kind of idea. I don't know if all their songs are like that, but that's sort of the gist I get from them and from some comments I've read about them. And we do have the imagery at the end of Atlas holding the planet up, but it's not Atlas, it's a skeleton with a scythe. It's Death Atlas. And of course, the world seems to be fine except for the places of land. Granted, we only saw North and South America, but I'm to assume most of the other continents are also inflamed. The water, though, seemed fine. To me, this is very much nature fighting back and or humans destroying themselves. One of the two. The imagery of the video certainly pushed a concept of the death of humanity. Regardless. Um, and to me, this symbolizes an abrupt end. Humans can fight to their last days, but eventually there will be a last day. In fact, the last human alive might fight for survival, but eventually, maybe even unceremoniously instant, they'll die. That's where the song ends before our outro. The outro is post-humanity. For whatever that's worth, there's a bit of positivity in it, but it's also solemn. I like that. We'll get into it a bit when we hit the lyrics. I don't want to base all this off of the music video. Um, but I do have some thoughts about the ways that the music and the lyrics tie together if the lyrics line up with what the music video was talking about. But that's why I think the ending works anyways, and why I think it's as powerful as it is, because it does work to tell a story. And there are a really neat mixture of emotions in that final minute and a half. If nothing else, it's effective, in that I have been affected by it. Now earlier I munched what is that even, what words was I even trying to say there? Earlier, mentioned and talked, I think that was going somewhere in that direction. Munched. Earlier I brought up the idea of coming and swinging, right? The Unerasable Past is doing its own solemn melancholy. Dang, I cannot speak. I might have to pause and do some mouth warm-ups. And then Death Atlas comes in, and it is just brutal abrasiveness for an extended period of time. This is bonkers. Alright, I know I already said that this is really fast, and I just kind of left it at that, but like, this is really fast. Like, I don't know how many of y'all play an instrument, have tried to play an instrument. Um, we've had some speed, we've had some thrash on the channel, but I don't think I've been exposed to something this fast. Y'all can correct me on that. I'm trying to, geez, just, and it's not even just the speed of it, right? Because yeah, you have to get your muscles up to that level of being able to pick that fast. And it's all right hand movement. As far as I could hear, there was no pitch changing on some of this stuff. You just kind of, and then you play like two notes, you hold them out, you kind of get these chords, these harmonies, and then you go right back to that pedal tone, that really fast pedal tone. It is the endurance to keep that up, to perform this presumably at the end of a live show. You know you've been playing stuff like this all show, 30, 40, 50 minutes, and then you still have to have the energy left in the tank to do this. No. How? These guys aren't human. But there's also the precision of it. There is a rigidity that is unwavering. The speed at which they play is, as far as I can tell, right on point rhythmically, equidistant. Each note is the same length as the last. It just blows my mind. It sounds robotic. It really does. And the fact that everybody's in time on it. You know, I talk about this all the time when we get more of these technical death bands. And just the way that they're all playing as fast as they are, as consistently as they are, in synchronization with everyone else in the band. I don't think I'll ever not be blown away by this. The technicality performed by several people in perfect sync at such a skill level is it's not. I've heard it. I've heard it a dozen times now. Like I said, we've listened to some fast stuff on the channel, and it still doesn't feel human to me. You know, this is one of those songs that if someone came up to me and told me, yeah, this was all programmed, and they actually don't play live shows, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out, because, you know, it's not something humans do. uh, but I don't think that's accurate. I'm pretty sure they do live shows. But I would 100% believe that none of this was performed by humans. It's just it's on another level. I don't think I can explain it to you if you've never tried to play music with a group of people, regardless of how fast. You try to put a band together and realize just how difficult it is to stay in sync with quarter notes at like 120 BPM. Something that is generally pretty slow. Um, and I don't know. It's once you try that and you realize how difficult it is to get a group of people in sync, and then you listen to this and just hear how perfect it is. It is. I don't. I just moving on to the next topic. The chorus is gorgeous. There's like there's like two goblin voices going on in here, which is kind of cool because Cattle Decapitation to me, I don't remember goblin stuff going on last time. I remember the low growl, some of the gutturals. I don't remember this nasally Gollum voice and then putting falsetto on that. But the thing is that it ends up being really pretty. Like, not just the harmonic quality of it. Like, yeah, the dyad that they're singing on top of the chords from the synth pads, yeah, that's all gorgeous, right? But, like, the actual timbres of the two vocals is actually kind of pretty for some reason. I don't know. It's Goblin harmonies. Give me more of that. I don't know that I have anything else to say on that. It's just it's going to be stuck in my head for a while, and it blows my mind. That's 2 out of 2 topics here about me just not being able to comprehend what's going on in this track. Um, wow. Random groove moment in the middle. I really appreciated that. I thought that was a cool thing to do. The song is breakneck all the time, and then they throw this in there and just stank face the whole time. It's you know what it reminds me of? It's like they turned into Bolt Thrower for a second and just came out with this really tasty riff. And they were like, yeah, we're done with that. Back to the technical stuff. But for that moment, just the sheer contrast of it works so well at kind of bringing some of the intensity down, but keeping the energy of the song. Because, you know, we do bring the intensity down a little bit in the chorus. Synth pads, very atmospheric. We have harmonized, cleanish vocals. At least they have pitch to them. I don't know if I'd call them clean, but they're pitched harshes. So we do bring it down a little bit, but this keeps the energy of the song, the heaviness, the metallic element. It just finds a groovier, laid back way to approach it. And so we actually get two contrasts that way. We have the high intensity, high speed, ridiculous non human playing. We have that groove stuff, and then we have the chorus. And then we have the end. Um, how often do they use synth pads? Because this was something I found that I enjoyed in the verse and the chorus, and our intro and outro. Well, the intro would be, you know, the Unerasable Past. They actually have a really great melodic side to them. I like to hear that. I like to hear the harmonies they write, the melodies they write to go alongside them, um, and the ways that they work outside of texture, which is like 90% of their writing from my point of view. And that's based off of like 3 tracks, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but a lot of it tends to be, you know, rhythm and texture. How do we make sounds that convey our feelings? And most of the time they do that without really any weight being put on pitch. So we don't really have melodic elements, we don't really have harmonic elements. And I think that's why the chorus stands out to me a bit here, because it is one of the few melodic sections. We don't really have the guitar taking over melodic riffs or solos or anything like that. We don't have a lead guitar line in here. The bass doesn't pop up with ornamental ideas. It's just texture all the way through. Even the vocals, the growls, they're textural, they're rhythmic. So that chorus does really stand out, not just within the work itself, but also my understanding of how they go about composing music as a band. But I'd love to hear more of it because I genuinely enjoyed every time that they kind of got away from that more textual side and explored something that dealt with chords, harmony, melody. Anytime they had, well, the 8 bars that we had in here of clean vocals. I was going to say anytime they had clean vocals, but it was like whole 8 bars worth. Yeah, give me more of that. I like listening to that, especially when they pair it against some of the more aggressive stuff that they're really great at writing and kind of finding the middle point there of melodic writing on top of this textural stuff. I think that's where they really shine for me personally. But I know, some metalheads are here for the texture. That's all they want, that's all they care about, and I'm sure this band hits the right sweet spot for people like that. I'm going to take a moment to hit some lyrics, and then we'll wrap this one up. A couple of notes here before we dive hard into the lyrics. This is the title track to the album. It is the last track on the album, though there might be a deluxe edition since Genius has 2 tracks that come after this. We heard about 90% of this track in the video. I'm kind of glad, but I'm kind of disappointed as well that the video doesn't have the full Death Atlas track in it. It seems to contain the entire 250 of the Unerasable Past, but only about 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes worth of Death Atlas. What we end up missing is a fade out, probably one of the longest fade outs. From what I can tell, it's about 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. We heard about 10 to 15% of that fade out from what I would guess. It is a lengthy fade out that does nothing new from moment to moment. It's literally the 8 bar loop for 2 minutes getting quieter and quieter and quieter. On that note, I'm happy we don't have to check it out. Fade outs are not my favorite cup of tea, and neither is repetition, but it's not meaningless. Travis Ryan of the band states that it has the longest fade outs ever. Says it's longer than half of our discography is. He says, I just went into this song saying, guys, I want that feeling like your dog just died. Utter despair. From that perspective, I don't know I would have picked up on it in the reaction, but having read this part of an interview with Apple Music, I get it. And I think it does a good job at that. But I have some more things to say about the themes of that outro once we hit the lyrics, which is something I led into earlier. We're going to segue back into the lyrics. Oh, one more thing. Also, what's really cool, I didn't pick this up because honestly, I didn't know what it was at the moment. The female vocals at the end of the track are actually the vocalist from Igor and Corpo Mente. I try to pronounce her name, but I can't, and I don't want to butcher it. But yeah, so she was doing the vocals for the end of this track, which is pretty cool. All right. Lyrics. They have a song called Pacific Grim. Oh, man. Off of their 2015 album. So the one that came just before this? That's a funny play on words. Anyways, the track is about the death of humanity and Earth being left without them. Verse 1 kicks off with this. I kind of figured we were going to go up to the end of the song until that abrupt ending. I kind of figured that was the end of humankind, but it's not. Verse 1 says, the deed is done. Mankind has come and gone. Carbon-based life forms reset to day 1. It flips this from more of a narration side to a human. It says, we thought we had enough time to redesign through human minds to do our time for this life of crime. Seems this is the end of the line. Now, I really love this next section. It says, we casketed hope in bureaucracy, sunk to the bottom of the sea, out of sight, out of mind, out of love for money. I really love that last line. Utilizing the old idiom out of sight, out of mind, utilizing the first two words out of to recontextualize the whole thing. It's no longer something that is outside of, but the reason for doing it. It's just a really clever use of language. A refrain that we'll see pop up a lot in this song and gets repeated during the bridge then says, we deserve everything that's coming. We'll take this world to our graves. I like this chorus. There's just a lot of good lines in here. I kind of hate that they're all hidden behind such gnarly vocals that I will probably never be able to hear the lyrics through. It says, there's no fear for tomorrow when there's no trust for today. There's no ever after. The debts have to be paid. That's pretty much the whole song right there. So here's what I get though, right? So the song's brutal. They just write brutal music. So I don't know if I want to read too much into that, but I do want to touch on the ending. I mentioned that it's sort of mixed. It's somber, but it's bright. Lyrically, there is brightness from the narration. The planet Earth is ready to move on. Finally, the humans have come and gone, right? This is something we've been waiting for a long time, and it's finally here. There's a victorious element to that. But the song is also interested in exploring the human perspective. Not just that we felt we had more time. We felt that we could fix this, but we also, at least part of us, didn't care to fix it. There's that duality there that needs to be represented, as well as the guilt. We deserve everything that's coming. I think the ending does a really great job of capturing this entire emotion, the narration, the thoughts of the planet, happy to be moving on to the next era of its existence, the pain and regret from humanity, wishing we had more time, and the guilt that some feel about never actually getting to fix the problems that we've bestowed on this planet. It is somber. It is heavy. It's heartbreaking, but there's an air of positivity, not necessarily victory, but something brighter on the horizon, a silver lining to the tragedy of another species gone extinct on Earth. Those are my thoughts. Cattle Decapitation's Death Atlas. Let me know what you thought of this track. Anything that stood out to you? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said? Correct me on, give me your own thoughts, perspectives, and opinions on. Toss all that stuff down there in the comments section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Okay, that was weird. I greatly appreciate that. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.